Welcome to the Creating Cashflow show, where I take my portfolio from $0 to $1 million a month in passive income earnings. My name is Dallin Wardrop, and this is my story. So today we're going to be talking about my strategy to generate my first dollar of passive income earnings. And a quick and interesting thought that I want to share that I think will help guide this entire show. I mean, this is episode 1. So what I want to be able to guide this entire show is somebody asked Alex Hormozy what separates a successful entrepreneur from one that fails, never tries, from those that give up, fail, or never get started. And without missing a beat, he said, the ability to deal with short-term discomfort for long-term achievement. The ability to deal with short-term discomfort for long-term achievement. I just loved that, especially for this show, because on the show we are going to be focusing on growing a portfolio from scratch, which is already causing me some short-term discomfort. And my hope is that, one, my portfolio and cash flow can grow as I focus on that area of my life, and two, that I can help and inspire you guys who are watching this show to be able to start generating some cash flow as well. And hopefully all of you can learn from my wins and my many mistakes that I'm sure will happen along the way. And as you find this content helpful, I want to be able to let you know every time I release a new show. And the easiest way for me to let you know that I released a new show is by following me on your favorite podcast hosting service and then hitting the little notification bell. Honestly, that's the easiest way for me to let you know that new content has dropped. So go ahead and follow me on your favorite podcast hosting service. And if you are on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to share with you guys my journey and my strategy from going from $0 in passive income earnings. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm not trying to be some guru that is going to tell you how to do it. I just want to share my journey. I learned that from Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like, hey, just share your journey along the way. And so that is my hope, is that, but hopefully by me sharing my journey, I can create a cool community of people that can kind of rally around me and help me grow and help me learn. That's you guys. So I also hope to inspire a bunch of people to be able to start taking control of their financial future and start creating cash flow. So with my goal of going from $0 to 1 million, the 1 million in monthly passive income earnings is like crazy. I honestly can't even imagine it. And that's why I put that as my goal, just because it's absolutely ridiculous. When I first started thinking about this show, I was like, hey, $10,000 of passive income earnings would honestly be life-changing and so cool. And then I was like, well, what about $25,000 or $50,000 in passive income earnings, $100,000? And I'm just like, my mind just like growing huge and my eyes are popping, and I have no idea how to do this. I just know that it sounds incredible and sounds completely life-changing, and I want to start focusing on that and start changing my life. So the 1 million is all about the journey and being able to really change my life. So right now I do have a full-time job and I have no plans to quit it. So obviously I have no passive income earnings, and I do have a job. It's a great job. It pays well. And I think that's the first thing that I want to be able to share is that is the only cash flow I have right now. I have to give them my time, obviously, from 8 to 5, and a lot of, not just time, I think people underestimate that. It's not just time, it's a lot of brain power and a lot of energy, where sometimes by 2 p.m. or 5 p.m., whatever, like you're completely spent. You gave so much energy and effort to giving your employer what they're paying for. So essentially, I'm going to be keeping that, but this podcast and this show, this YouTube channel, it's going to be a side hustle as I build out my portfolio, and who knows, maybe one day it will grow to where I don't need to rely, or I don't need to be reliant on a full-time job. I think that it would be the overall goal, and then I can have one if I want one, or if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. So that's the direction I want to go. And I wanted to share in this show my strategy to be able to go from 0 to 1,000. And we'll start there, because once I'm at 1,000, then I'll go from 1 to 5,000 or 1 to 10,000 and share my strategy, what I'm doing, everything I learn, everything I try. I want to be able to come here and share it. So my strategy of going from 0 to $1,000 in passive income earnings is going to be one of 5 things, and maybe a combination of a few of them. But the first one is Turo, which is a well, actually, before I even go into what they are, I'll just say the first one is Turo, the next one is real estate, the third one is a mobile app. The fourth one is social media, so this show, this podcast, YouTube, etc. And finally, the fifth one is stocks and index funds. So each of these, I think, are really good vehicles to be able to grow wealth. I also think they're really good vehicles to be able to diversify my portfolio, where I don't have all of my eggs in the YouTube basket, or I don't have all of my eggs in the stocks and index funds basket, or real estate, where I can really kind of diversify. But with that, I'm sure that I'll really need to focus in on one. But just to kind of run you through each of these and why I'm thinking about them and how I think that I'll be able to utilize them for my benefit, I'll start from the top with Turo. So for those of you that don't know, Turo, one isn't sponsoring this at all. It's a short-term rental company where you can go and if you have a car, you can put it on Turo. Very similar to if you have a home, you can put it on Airbnb. It's basically Airbnb for cars. And I have some friends that own Turo cars. Like, one of them owns an entire fleet in Arizona, another one owns a bunch of exotics in Miami, and they kind of told me a little bit about their business. I thought, wow, this is so cool. I wanted to do it in New York City, but there was a huge obstacle. Is Turo was not allowed in New York City, and there might be other apps like Turo that I frankly just don't know about, but I'll really need to look into that. But essentially, the idea would be using Turo now that it is available in New York City. As of June 27th, it became available in New York City. So I'm like, well, I have a Jeep Wrangler. I could now put it on Turo, even though it's my baby and I don't want other people sitting in it. I don't want other people using it. It's an opportunity to turn an expense into an asset, which can start creating cash flow. So that's one of the ideas that has got me really excited. It's apparently super easy to use. I've seen the app interface from my friends. I've heard them telling me stories, and basically it sounds like the real deal. Sounds like something I'm very interested in. Okay, I just killed the air conditioning, so hopefully there wasn't too much background noise, but here we go, we'll keep rolling. So the next one is real estate. Real estate to me is so interesting and so exciting. It feels like the most sure way to grow wealth over a long-term period. Not only are there great tax benefits, basically homes appreciate over the course of their life. Almost all homes appreciate, I guess if you do it right. There's a large room for growth, but there's also opportunities for creating cash flow, and that could be either through the short-term rental market, putting it on Airbnb, VRBO, or any of those other platforms where you can do short-term rental for homes, or even something that isn't as sexy right now or isn't as talked about right now, but just having a long-term renter where you don't have to worry about flipping the house over so often for these short-term rentals. You don't have to furnish it. All you need to do is own the home or be purchasing the home, right? And have them pay their monthly rent. So I think that is another way that is super exciting, is getting into the real estate game, putting some money down, being able to leverage the bank's money for 75 to 80% of the home value, and start generating cash flow from other people's needs, which is shelter. People need to live somewhere. So the third one, so we have Turo, real estate, and the third one is a mobile app. So this one is probably not as applicable for everybody watching, but I work in the mobile app space, and I'm a product manager, so I build apps, I build websites, and this is something that is really exciting to me. I even have an award-winning mobile app. It's called Surf, share your favorites. Small plug for Surf. It's an app where you can go make a list of all of your top recommendations. So I have lists of all of my favorite things to eat and do in Miami and New York City, and any place where you've been, you can go make a list of all of your very favorite things, and it makes it very easy to compile those things and then share those out with people that may be traveling to those locations that know you're the expert and want your recommendations. So right now, that award-winning app is actually completely free, and we have no premium features, we have nothing like that. We're still growing, and eventually I really want to be able to get it to a place where we do have premium features. And if you guys are so kind as to go and download it and check it out, please leave a review, like a very honest review. We want to know what to do to make this a better app for people, and we want to be able to build in premium features, and that would be a really cool asset, because it's just a software where as we build it, as we grow, we won't necessarily need to put a ton of time and a ton of resources into it, because the software will be able to scale. So as we develop premium features, people will be able to pay us for that, and we'll be able to cash flow from a mobile app, which is super unique, super interesting, and that one gets me way fired up, way excited, and it honestly makes me nervous because I've already invested a lot of time and a lot of money into building it, which, you know, that frankly doesn't mean anything. Now it has to be able to provide value to you, and we'll still have to keep iterating on it before I'll be able to generate cash flow from it. So this is definitely going to be part of the vehicle to get me from maybe $1,000 to $10,000 in monthly passive income earnings, but it definitely is not going to be the one that gets me from 0 to 1,000, at least from where I'm sitting right now. So of the 5 vehicles, we have the mobile app, we have Turo, we have real estate. The next one is this show. We have YouTube and podcast. So I am building this show as if it is a podcast, and I'm going to be uploading it to YouTube, and I hope it can provide as much value to people on both platforms. So I'm sure I'll get different feedback from people on the podcast side of the house than people on the YouTube side of the house, and hopefully I can build it out so that both experiences can be really, really solid, and I can feel these episodes jam-packed with excitement, but also tons of value. So that's the goal there. I also have another small YouTube channel that really, it doesn't do anything incredible. It only has like 2,000 subscribers, but I do make some ad revenue. It's not a lot, but it's enough to be like, hey, let's keep that channel alive so that we can keep making some money. So I do post it there every once in a while. I don't even want to plug it, but essentially that I believe that YouTube, podcasts, social media can be a really great way to generate passive income. And the other really cool thing that can happen with it is you can build communities. And so more than just making money, it ends up being a really cool community that can learn and rally together. I love watching YouTubes myself, listening to podcasts, so hopefully this can be another way to generate income. And finally, the 5th way that I think will be a really good vehicle to have passive income earnings is through stocks and index funds. So if you're not as familiar with stocks and index funds, a number of stocks and lots of index funds will have dividend payouts. So that's the way you can create cash flow there. Say you buy Apple stock for $100 and then it goes up to $150, right? That's just appreciation. You could do the same thing with real estate, but that didn't generate you any cash flow. You'd have to sell the stock to be able to get your money out. But what can happen is, because you own one share of Apple, they'll pay out a dividend. So you'll get, I don't know what it is right now, maybe it's like 50 cents a share. So every share that you own, when they pay out a dividend, you'll get 50 cents. So that is a way to generate cash flow. And there's a bunch of index funds and a bunch of stocks that do pay dividends. And the really cool thing that I love about stocks and index funds and the idea of that is that it's so hands-off. All you need to do is go look for a stock or index fund that you want to support, that you want to back, that you think will grow, and also has a good dividend payout. and then you can go invest there. You don't do anything. The company will continue to run as it runs. You can vote at board meetings if you want. You can show up to the board meetings if you want. Essentially, it's completely hands off, and every once in a while, you'll just get money put into your bank. So that being said, because it's so hands off, it's not like the return is going to be huge, but don't forget that you're potentially building appreciation. So the overall value is great as it grows. That's really, really huge. But to make dividends really, really worth it, you have to own a ton of stock. So unless I'm understanding this wrong, and if I am, please put in the comments down below what I could be doing differently, or stocks that pay out better dividends. That's really interesting to me. So I think between these 5 things, I'll really be able to diversify my portfolio, and I'll be able to grow. But one thing that I'm a little bit worried about is, if I have 5 things, that's so many things, and I have my full-time job. How am I going to be able to do all of these things? So I guess in conclusion, to wrap all of this up, I'm really going to need to focus in on maybe 1 or 2 of these. So that's why, rather than trying to swing at the huge goal of going from 0 to $1 million a month in passive income earnings, I'm just breaking it down, going from 0 to $1,000 a month in passive income earnings. I'm going to look at a few of these, which ones I think will be necessary to get me to the $1,000 a month mark, and basically the fastest with the least amount of effort, and also the cheapest. So I don't have to spend a ton of money. I don't have to spend a ton of time. I'll be able to continue doing my full-time job, but I'll start being able to chip away at going from 0 to $1 million a month. Thanks so much for listening and or watching today. And really, the easiest way for me to let you know that I'm dropping new content is if you follow or subscribe and hit the notification bell. Honestly, don't do it for me, do it for you. These episodes are going to be jam-packed with a ton of value and a ton of excitement and community. This is how we can build the community that is going to be able to rally together and push each other towards our cash flow goals. And finally, if you are building your own portfolio, please share your strategy, share your story, share your motivation in the comments down below. I would love to learn from you. I would love to hear from you, and the community would also love to learn and be inspired by you and what you are bringing to the table. And with all that being said, remember that the mind is a powerful thing, and what you focus on grows. So keep focused on your goals and grounded in gratitude. See ya.